Hi, I'm Charlie Wesley from St. Augustine, Florida. I started shooting photographs back in 1986 while taking night college photo classes at Tidewater Community College in the greater Virginia Beach, Virginia area. At the time, I used both slide and negative film. My film camera of choice was Nikon. I learned to do black and white printing along with Cibachrome and Fuji Type 35R prints directly from slides. I seem to enjoy color photography more. My first digital camera was a Fujifilm S1 Pro. I like the extra depth of field from a crop camera compared to film. I completely converted to digital photography in 2008. My camera and lenses of choice for number one macro work, I use both a Canon 5D Mark II and a Canon 7D. My main lens is a Sigma 180 millimeter APO HSM f3.5. At times I use a Canon 100 to 400 millimeter f4.5 to 5.6 USML lens. For my bird photography, I really prefer my Canon EF 500mm f4.0 USML lens. I live very close to the St. Augustine Alligator Farm. We have a natural rookery there that's loaded with wading birds. Some of my favorite subjects to shoot are landscapes, architecture, birds, and macro images. I've spent more time recently shooting the historical buildings located here in St. Augustine. As far as my style, with macro, it's more a straight shooting with emphasis towards maximum depth of field. I do shoot abstracts and selective focus also, but most of my macro photography falls in the realm of close-up photographs. My bird photography is very tied in with the birds. It gets rid of the distracting backgrounds located at the St. Augustine Alligator Farm. As far as winning awards, being published, any other successes, I have. While I was still taking film classes, I had images published in Photographers Forum magazine, Best of College Photography, for 5 years in a row. My images were used in an article in Shutterbug magazine by Daryl Nicholas quite some time ago. One of my images has recently been bought by the St. Augustine Alligator Farm, and it's on a display plaque where the parrots are located. It's that of a scarlet or red macaw. I've also been featured in the July 2011 Mike Moat's blog on tinylandscapes.com. Those are my macro images. Mike is a superior photographer. I do have images for sale at shutterstock.com. My username is westjr50. As far as the programs I like to use to process my images, I'm a big fan of Adobe Photoshop. I do use CS4 and two Nik plugins, namely Vivisa 2 and Color Effects Pro 3.0. Both of the Nik software programs make processing fun. I love to do color and contrast control with them. Where am I from? I'm originally from the Virginia Beach metro area. I moved to St. Augustine about 7 years ago. After retirement, I practiced general dentistry for a little longer than 28 years. My images can also be seen on Flickr, and my username is westjr50. Thank you. Hi, in this section I concentrate on my imagery techniques. This is one of my Dendrobium mini orchids. In taking this photograph, I use my EOS 7D Sigma 180mm macro lens and a 54-inch Photoflex diffusion disc to compress the highlights and shadows. I feel it gives me a sweeter light. As far as processing, I'm a big fan of Adobe Photoshop, and I use PS-CS4 and two Nik plugins, namely Viveza 2 and Color Effects Pro. I like the ability to control the color and contrast with Viveza. I worked on the deep pink and white areas of the flowers, and at the same time I did work on the black background to darken it. I like the pop in this photograph. I deliberately use my live view in order to get the top orchid in the upper 2/3 rule of a third position before I took the photograph. I think it makes it a much more effective picture. Here is one of my avian photographs here. This was taken locally at the St. Augustine Alligator Farm, and it is a cattle egret on the nest. This was taken back in May. I did use the rule of 2/3 in order to offset the bird. One thing I don't like in many photographs is to over-center the image. Here again I use Photoshop CS4, and I did use Viveza 2 and Color Effects Pro to control the color and the contrast on this image. I had to tone down the whites quite a bit. Hope you enjoy my presentation. See you later.